John, buy or sell these Rock and Terminator rumors?
Okay, so let's assume both of these are true. And that's a wild assumption because these are not confirmed. So let's assume for a second. I have two answers. Buy The Rock in the Terminator. I mean, Rock is the biggest movie star in the world right now. I would put that dude in Shakespeare. It wouldn't be good Shakespeare, but I'd pay to see it. So yeah, I could totally see The Rock in a Terminator franchise, absolutely. But I sell this notion of the Terminator being Terminator 5 being about going back in time again to kill somebody's parents to stop somebody from being born again. Been there, done that for 3 films. Don't need it anymore. Get over this. Okay, yeah, it was a great idea at first. Time traveling back to kill somebody so somebody else won't be born. We've done that for 3 movies already. Don't give it to us again. Unless you're talking about a fresh reboot, then I might have a little bit of forgiveness. But buy The Rock being in Terminator, sell this concept of Terminator that's being rumored. Amy Rose?
Buy. The Rock is a Terminator. Look at him. Like, he straight up is.
Do you think a reboot for Revenge of the Nerds would work or not?
I loved Revenge of the Nerds. I mean, I think everybody did when you first watch it. But could a Revenge of the Nerds work today?
Well,
No.
they already did it. Monsters University. It's the same plot.
Yeah.
It's the same freaking plot.
Kind of, in a way,
except without
I guess.
the TNA.
Yeah, the whole geeky and nerdy thing is something people actually look up to now. You have people like a Mark Zuckerberg or Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, J.J. Abrams, Joss Whedon.
Yeah.
People look up
None
to
of
those
them,
guys.
I believe, played college football.
Yeah.
By the way, I just want to throw that out there.
And you have all these people, I'm going to, do my whole, when I was younger speech here, but when I was in high school, it was me and like a handful of guys who read comic books and played video games. I mean, that was it. Like, nobody did. People would look at us weird because we brought comic books to school. We would talk about video games. And nowadays, almost every guy is playing video games, and a good amount of girls. I mean, I remember going to my first convention, WonderCon, way back in the day. There were no girls there at all. And now you go to Comic-Con.
Yeah.
There's all these beautiful girls, and it's not just booth babes. It's girls who are legitimately interested in the subject matter. And so it doesn't work. What's Revenge of the Nerds? The nerds are gonna be the guys who have like all the money and all the girls and
All
stuff.
the clout.
Yeah.
They'll have to change the title. They'll have to change it to Revenge of the Jocks.
Yeah.
Yes.
Change the whole freaking thing.
All these
you know?
downtrodden, persecuted jocks
Man,
rise
I
up
played
and
football. I'm good, man.
Are parody movies dead? Are reference-filled comedies devoid schlock, like The Starving Games, the norm, or will we ever see a return to timeless classics like Airplane and Hot Shots? I'd love to know what you guys think about it.
They all suck today. They all suck. They're terrible. Gone are the days of great spoof movies like Airplane. Top Secret, I think, might be my favorite all-time spoof movie. Latrine! But there was also, what was the one with Charlie Sheen? Hot Shots.
Hot Shots.
And Hot Shots Part 2.
Yeah.
They used to make some really great ones. Now they are...
Spaceballs?
I'm trying really hard not to swear. Spaceballs might be the last, one of the last great ones too, but
Spaceballs.
today they're just all these epic movies, disaster movies, date movies.
Scary movies.
What was the 300? Meet the Spartans. They suck.
Yeah.
They all suck. I really hope we get some good ones again, but now they are the epitome of lazy filmmaking, throw in any schlock. I think they're just awful today. I hope somebody comes out with a really good one.
Even the first Scary Movie, I thought was funny. And then, the
first.
the first one. The third one is terrible. Absolutely terrible.
Do you think the next Terminator Genesis trailer should focus on Schwarzenegger? Some people across the web are concerned about his screen time after watching the first trailer. Arnold even had to reassure his fans on Facebook that he has the starring role and we'd see him throughout the entire movie. Thanks.
I liked the trailer quite a bit. I wasn't like, I thought it was good. I was like, wait till the movie comes out. I can't believe they ruined it. You haven't seen it. But they've ruined it. And it's like, relax. I mean, everybody's got to relax a little bit, but yeah.
It's such a bummer that this guy was Mr. Olympia. He was the Terminator. He took down a Predator. He took down an entire South American drug cartel by himself.
That's
and
right.
now he has to go on Facebook and tell everybody, no, don't worry, I'm in the movie, I promise. However,
I am the lead character.
If you rubbed a movie genie magic lamp and the genie gave you guys 3 movie wishes, and don't cheat, John, only 3 this time.
Cheat.
What would your movie wishes be?
Wish number 1. A movie version of Heir to the Empire, the Star Wars trilogy novel set that's supposed to take place right after Return of the Jedi. My second wish would be a sequel to the long undervalued, and most people have never seen it, Megaforce. The 1980s kind of G.I. Joe wannabe ripoff movie.
Barry Bostwick.
Ace says, life's like a wheel. It all comes around. But my number 1 movie wish that I've always wanted, and I still hold out some hope for this actually, that someday this may happen. I want a Mystery Men 2.
All right, my wish number 1 would be a Devil Dinosaur movie. Number 2, DC Get on New Gods, another Jack Kirby creation from the 80s. That's where Darkseid came from. So there's so many amazing characters that I would love to see brought to life in a live action movie. I'm not going to riff off you, but my thing was like, I'd like to see all three of these new Star Wars movies tomorrow. Because it's a wish, and I'm like, none of this stuff is realistic. So if I could wish right now, I'd be like, let me watch all 3 of those, plus the backwards one. Let me see all 6.
This one comes from our very own Mark Ellis. He says, y'all look great today. In honor of the Super Bowl, what's your favorite football flick ever? # Rudy.
I recently heard a rumor that Avengers 3 could possibly be split into 2 movies. And with a villain as big and bad as Thanos wielding the Infinity Gauntlet, should that be what the film is based on, I think it would make sense to do so. However, I've been waiting long enough for the big showdown with Thanos and wouldn't want to wait yet another film to see that fight. What would you think about the Avengers 3 being split into 2 films, assuming the rumor is true? All right. Matthew, thank you for the question. I have seen these reports going around the internet the last 24 hours or so, claiming that certain sources are saying, and it comes from some obscure website, certain sources are saying, nothing official obviously, that the Avengers 3 is going to be split into 2 films. Okay, here's why this is one of the most stupid things I have ever heard in my life, ever. All right? What do you split into? First of all, they don't have a script for Avengers 3. So let's just get that out of the way. Kevin Feige's got a roadmap. They know where they're going, but there's a lot of films to happen between Avengers 2 and Avengers 3, okay? There's a lot to happen, okay? So is there some work happening on Avengers 3? Sure, I bet there is. But this is why this is one of the most stupid, preposterous reports I've ever heard. The last Twilight film, I think it's Twilight Breaking Dawn. I think that's the name of the last book. I don't know the name of them in order, okay? But that's a book. This is The Hobbit, but they had a book, all right? A book. It's one thing, a book. Gonna make 2 movies out of it? All right. Then you are splitting it into 2 films. Hunger Games, what's the tagline of the last one now? Mockingjay. Mockingjay is a book. It's one book. But unlike the other first 2 films in the series where they just did 1 movie per book, they're splitting the second book into 2 and doing a movie for each half of the book. Hence, they're splitting it into 2. What exactly are they splitting? This report that they're splitting Avengers 3. There is no Avengers 3. There is no book out there called Avengers 3. And now we're going to take that book, Avengers 3, and split it in half. What? How do you split air in half? There is nothing to split in half. It's a concept. Avengers 3 right now is a theoretical concept. It's not a physical thing that gets split in half. And this whole thing about this Avengers 3 may be split into 2 highlights one of the biggest pieces of idiocracy in the online movie world today. That some unknown site can float some story and then a whole bunch of really good, credible, otherwise credible movie sites start running with it as a story. What are you splitting in half? There is nothing to split in half. Is Return of the Jedi? Is that just Empire Strikes Back split in 2? Oh yeah, we made Star Wars. Big hit with that Star Wars. Let's say we split Star Wars 2 in half. Let's split Star Wars 2 into 2 movies. No, there were 2 movies. There was A New Hope. There was Empire Strikes Back. There was Return of the Jedi. They didn't take Empire Strikes Back and split it into 2 movies. It was 3 movies. All right? They're gonna do an Avengers 4. Avengers 4 is coming, and it's not a split of Avengers 3. Just as much as they didn't take Avengers 1, they took Avengers 1 and split it into 2 films, and that's why we got Avengers 2 coming out. No, it's a second film. It's just a second film. So, I mean, I couldn't believe it. I remember I pulled Ann. When I was reading these stories, I got Ann, and I said, honey, you got to hear this report. I'm reading this, and I think this is the stupidest thing I have ever heard, proof of idiocracy in the world. I'm just going to read you the story and tell me if you pick up what I'm talking about or if I'm just being crazy. And I read the story and she said, wait. What do you mean splitting Avengers 3 in half? Is there a book called Avengers 3? Exactly. So, the fact that there is no final script for Avengers 3, the fact that they haven't even announced who the director for Avengers 3 is, and all that there is no Avengers 3 at this point. There's no book called Avengers 3. There's no whatever. There's nothing for them to split in half. So, I mean, I don't blame you, Matthew. Like, you're reading these reports. You're a film fan. You're online. You're reading these reports about this. And so you want some clarification. So you write into some of your buddies or you write into AMC mailbag and you're saying, hey, I heard they're splitting Avengers 3 in half. Is this true? Of course it's not true. Of course it's not true. They're going to be Avengers 3. And at some point, there's going to be Avengers 4. And at some point, there's going to be Avengers 5. And at some point, there's going to be Avengers 6. And they're going to keep going until such time that Marvel decides to just reboot the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe. But right now, the gravy train is running pretty hot, and they ain't looking to get off just yet. They're not looking to disembark off this gravy train. So, this report of splitting Avengers 3 in 2, one of the stupidest things I've ever heard.